welcome everybody to the Susquehanna Township Board of Commissioners meeting, September 23rd. Happy to have you all here. I would note for the record two things. One, that we did meet in executive session to discuss matters of personnel, litigation, and real estate. And second, the Board of Commissioners is here with the exception of Commissioner Rabarchek, Commissioner Johnson, Commissioner Engel, and Commissioner Napper, all of whom are excused. We'll begin tonight with a Pledge of Allegiance followed by a moment of silence. And if the pledge could be led tonight by Commissioner Sanderson, I'd appreciate it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, please be seated. Thank you for coming. We'll start off with public comment. Does anybody wish to address the board tonight? Anything they'd like to talk about? All right, hearing none. Move on to, we have a couple of promotions to consider tonight. Chief, would you come front and center, please?
Commissioners, Mr. President, we do have two promotions tonight. I'll take them one at a time. And they are two outstanding leaders on our police department presently. And I'll speak to them specifically as they come up. So the first I want to ask up is Corporal-to-be Chris Haynes. Commissioners, Corporal-to-be Chris Haynes is in his 20th year with our police department. He is presently a patrol officer first class. He came to us from Manor Township Police Department in Lancaster County some 20 years ago. And over the tenure of Chris's experience with our police department, he's worked in the patrol division, in the Community Technical Support Division, and presently he is our school resource officer. And he's been doing just an outstanding job in that respect. Additionally, Chris serves on the Dauphin County Accident Reconstruction Team. It gives me great pleasure to recommend the promotion to the rank of corporal of Patrol Officer First Class Chris Haynes.
Is there a motion to that effect?
Mr. President, I move that we promote Officer Chris Haynes to the rank of corporal.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any comment or discussion? Just have to say that second stripe makes all the difference, doesn't it, Chris? Yes, sir. That's great. All right, all those in favor of Commissioner's motion?
Aye.
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 And opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you. Now we will have the pinning of the badge. So I don't think we'll need a medic, but I trust Mrs. Haynes. Chris.
Congratulations, Corporal.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to call up Sergeant-to-be Andrew Verbos. So Corporal Verbos has been with our police department. He's in his 11th year. He has a degree in forestry from Penn State University. And he has served, he's presently serving in a sergeant's billet. He has been the commander of C Platoon for now approximately a year and has done an outstanding job in that role. And that's why we're very proud to have him promoted to sergeant tonight. In addition to all of those capacities that he serves in, when I shared with you last week the fact that we're being reaccredited and all of that work as it relates to accreditation, certainly it's a team effort throughout the entire police department because all of the officers are working towards accreditation in everything they do. But in terms of the brunt of the work that no one would want to do, it's this guy. This is the guy behind the scenes, behind the curtain that has drove the issue of accreditation for us for the past 3 years. And we owe this man just a great deal of gratitude for bringing us to this point for reaccreditation. And I wanted you to know that. The Corp is also a firearms instructor, a Department weapons armorer, and also serves on the Dauphin County Accident Reconstruction Team. So it gives me, again, great pleasure to promote a great young leader, Corporal Andrew Verbos, to the rank of sergeant, and I make that recommendation.
Thank you, Chief. Is there a motion to that effect?
Mr. President, I would move that we promote Corporal Andrew Verbos to the rank of sergeant.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any comment? Also, that extra stripe looks great on you, too. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Sergeant.
Good job.
Good job. Outstanding. Commissioners, thank you very much. This
Thank you,
is
Chief. Congratulations.
great leaders for our department, great leaders for our citizens,
Congratulations.
and great leaders for the future of our department. So
And on
thank you.
behalf of the board, I'd like to thank all the other officers here with us tonight to celebrate your colleague because their success is also your success, and we thank you for everything you do. So, thank you. You may go have some cake.
Thank you all very much. Be safe. Really know how to get rid of a crowd, Mike. You came up and everyone just cleared out. Now you're good.
As far as we know.
Yeah.
All right, next up on the agenda is the enclave at Elmerton. Mr. Rohr?
Yeah, we have a preliminary final subdivision land development plan for the purpose of combining 2 lots to construct 156 townhomes on a 25.5-acre parcel located on the south side of Elmerton Avenue. Property is located in the BOR district under the neighborhood design development criteria. There are 5 waivers requested. Number 1, plan procedures. Number 2, sidewalk along Elmerton Avenue with the following conditions: a trail to be provided along Elmerton Avenue from the project site to Veterans Park. B, the trail is provided to the green belt to the rear of the property. And C, right-of-way along Elmerton Avenue dedicated to the township for future connectivity. Waiver number 3, curbing required for buildings 1 through 6. Waiver number 4, provide 2 separate points of ingress and egress. And waiver number 5, grading on sloped lands 15% or greater with fills greater than 12 feet.
Okay. Is there a motion on the waivers?
Success.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any comments, questions?
I I would just like to say that, well, maybe I'll save that comment for the approval.
Well, I didn't know if you were going to touch on it, Commissioner, but I just want to make something clear. 'Cause sidewalks are always an issue, and we are granting a waiver for a sidewalk here, but I think it's important to note that in addition to that waiver that's been requested, you know, they are under no obligation to provide a trail, under no to Veterans Park. They're under no obligation to provide a trail to the Greenbelt or to dedicate the right-of-way for future use. So I just want to make it clear that, you know, in this instance, you know, the developer is meeting some of our needs. And I just wanted to make that clear because sidewalks are consistently an issue, and we consistently see waivers, and some are granted, some are not. But I think it's in this case, it's important to make that clear, that the developer is meeting some obligations that they don't necessarily have to, so.
Yeah, and I maybe would add that the Greenbelt linkage actually would provide a better link to the adjoining development than the sidewalk, because there's no sidewalk to join to.
That's correct.
Along Elmerton there. So if you wanted to get there, you'd almost have to, find a different path. So we thought it was the, best solution, to the situation, even though we're not getting a sidewalk along Elmerton, but we are getting a right-of-way so that in the future, wanted to construct one, we could do that. I think it was the best option.
Okay, any other comments? All those in favor of the waiver motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
There are some conditions of approval. Number one, provide additional landscaping as discussed at the DRC meeting on September 17th. Number two, provide the below items to the DRC before building permit submittal. No permits will be released until the DRC or TCA has verified all plans meet the design guidelines, and all fees from TAC's review are required to be paid by the applicant. The two parts to that are A, building elevations on all four sides colored, and B, specifications for pocket park and open space amenities. Number three, third condition, provide easement agreements for pedestrian access to trails, conservation easements, and stormwater management facilities before plan recording. Lastly, provide the rec fee in lieu of prior to plan recording as approved by the Township Board of Commissioners.
Motion to approve contingent upon those conditions?
Moved and seconded. Comments? Questions?
I'd just like to point out that the Design Review Committee, which is what DRC stands for, has looked at this particular development probably 4 or 5 different meetings. The developer has been responsive to the comments by the Design Review Committee, and the whole idea of that review and adjustments to the planning is to have a more pleasant, higher quality, livable community, more in keeping with our sustainable Susquehanna 2030 plan. So, there are additional conditions for the Design Review Committee to take another look at some of these issues. But I wanted to point out that it's been an extensive review, that the developer has been cooperative in making adjustments.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other comments? All right, there's a motion on the floor to approve the plan with the approvals, with conditions. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Next up is a resolution, 21R10, which is a resolution for plan revision for new development enclave at Elmerton. Mr. Kratzer?
Yes, Mr. President, members of the Board of Commissioners, as the President has indicated, this is a resolution for plan revision for new development. It's a Department of Environmental Protection required process as part of the planning module and planning that's required through the department. The authority has reviewed the planning module and has approved the portions of the planning module that it's responsible for approving. Again, this is a requirement for the township to pass this resolution as part of that planning module submission to the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection.
Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the resolution 21R10.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, thank you. Good luck. Do you know when the connector would be made between the property, Enclave, and Veterans Park? And where would that go? That would go across Game Commission, I believe, right?
Yes, so we just had that survey, was it 2 weeks ago? So we had the survey, figure out where we're gonna go. Be part of the site work, when we do the site work with everything else. We've talked to the Game Commission, we have the methodology that we're gonna go through in place. We're gonna use a special use permit, gives us up to a year to work in it. So we're in contact with them, they're aware of it. So as soon as, we get everything else in order and we start site work, it'll probably be up there on the entrance side of it, so.
Cool.
All right,
All right.
thank you guys.
Yeah, thanks.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Right, next up is Cherry Orchard Place. Consider financial security release number 1 in the amount of $126,134, leaving a remaining balance of $36,828. Mr. Grobick.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. Before you have a financial security release number 1 for Cherry Orchard Place, which is the development done by the Vartan Group on the south side of Linglestown Road, just across from Blue Mountain Commons. And the site work has been considerably completed, with the exception of the amount of $36,828, which includes some erosion and sedimentation control work and some conversion of the existing detention facility to a permanent facility. So I would recommend approval.
Okay. Is there a motion to that effect?
Second?
Moved and seconded. Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Do we know about if there's, how much occupancy there is there? Percentage?
In the residential part of the building?
Yes.
I'm not aware of that, Commissioner, but there appears to be a lot of cars back in there.
Okay. Thank you. Next up is a joint pollution plan. Consider amendment number 1 to task order 2020-01. Mr. Kratzer.
Sure. So task order number 1 was related to a cooperative effort between us, the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation, and then the 3 partners that are party to the Joint Pollution Reduction Plan, ourselves, Lower Paxton Township, and Capital Region Water. As part of that task order, we collectively engaged a contractor, RES, to implement projects that are contained within our Joint Pollution Reduction Plan. As RES was going about in terms of preparing, they identified an additional area, kind of an expanded scope of one of the projects, and the potential to generate additional sediment reductions in the amount of 57,500 pounds, bringing the total reduced sediment load reduction up to 735,340. So the amendment or the change order is to take advantage of this additional opportunity to reduce these additional pounds of sediment. Again, there's a unit cost per pound that was contained in the original agreement of $3.49. So we're simply taking that additional 57,500 and timesing it by that unit cost. The township's responsibility in terms of the additional change order amount, the total change order amount is just slightly over $200,000. The township is responsible for 27% of that $200,675. So our responsibility would be the $54,182.25 in order to receive 100% credit for these additional 57,500 pounds of sediment reduction. Our 2 other partners to the agreement, Lower Paxton and Capital Region Water, have reviewed the amendment or the change order. Both have taken action to approve the change order, so we would be the final party that would be taking action on this matter. from a staff perspective, our recommendation, given the cost efficiencies and associated efficiencies with this, is to approve the amendment to the prior task order.
So moved.
Second, any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Administration building office renovation. We have a couple of items here to consider, act on. Gary or Dave, would you like to tee it up for public consumption in terms of where we've been and where we are tonight?
You want to talk about process a little bit? And
Okay.
just to start, I mean,
Well, some years ago, or now a few years ago, we took a look at the idea of doing renovations, and then they were quite extensive, and I don't remember the numbers anymore, but what I do remember is the total cost of what we were proposing to do was roughly equivalent to the cost of building a new building. And at that time, the board decided that we were not going to proceed with that approach. And in the intervening years, we've done some things. We got a roof replacement as part of a solar array at no cost to us. And so this proposal is to take this existing building and renovate interior and a little bit of the exterior with the idea of trying to focus people's attention to this entrance here rather than the police side for all business that they would have to interact with township. So we did approve, the board did approve placing it out for bids based on a plan by Tono Architects.
Tono, correct, yeah?
And, we spent some time as a building committee, work with Tono to figure out exactly what approach we wanted to take. The bids came in. The basic construction bid came out at $928,900, and there were a couple alternates that we looked at. We also, as a part of this proposal, are looking at doing a technology enhancement for our conference rooms, this room, our conference room behind this room, and another public conference room involving video and audio enhancements so that we can better job with presentation, that type of thing. And of course, some furniture and artwork goes along with the renovation so that we can have new furnishings to sort of reflect the new situation in our building. So that's basically where we are. The bids have come in. We had a meeting of the Buildings and Grounds Committee this past week and took a look at some options and made some decisions to recommend approval of these various bids and cost items. So that's where we are.
Okay.
Did I get that, Dave?
You did wonderful. You did tremendous.
Nailed it.
If I may, a member of the committee, just to say that this will do a great deal in terms of security, efficiency, and accessibility.
Good point.
And I think that it's going to bring the township building into the 21st century. It's not a Taj Mahal by any means, but it'll be improvements that will bring us up to current standards. Good move.
And we're spending a hair over $1 million on something that we looked at before would have cost us $5 million. So I think we're achieving, reasonable costs for the township and getting a good result for our staff and public when they come in.
Thanks for all the hard work that he did, Dave and Betsy and everybody else. So, it's a lot. We'll down to tonight, and we have 5 items to consider in association with the renovation project. First item is to consider acceptance of the base bid from ECI Construction in the amount of $928,900.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Second is to consider the acceptance of alternate number 2, which is automatic door operators, in the amount of $6,400.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Any comments?
I'd just like to point out, for the benefit of the public, that what we're talking about here is handicap-accessible buttons on the doors so that they can be operated by people with limited mobility.
Gotcha.
I really think this is a good investment for our citizens.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Amen.
Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Third, consider the acceptance of the proposal from Technologies Upgrades from Illuminated Integration in the amount of $94,672.76.
So moved?
Moved by Commissioner Fleming, seconded by Sanderson. Any comments on this one?
I was just going to add, this room is somewhat limited in its technology, so I think this is going to bring us again into the 21st century. To have monitors behind us, public can view, monitors on the walls so that we can view. When somebody's making a presentation, be it a plan or something of that kind, we won't have difficulty, seeing what's going on. Public will have the same advantage.
No, we'll play Thursday night football games as well, right?
Super Bowl party.
Yeah. Or a blues jam.
Okay.
There you go.
You don't need all that technology for blues. Just a couple of amps, drum kit, you're good.
All right, any other comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Fourth, consider acceptance of proposal furniture via CoStar's contract number 35-025 from Tanner Furniture in the amount of $73,396.60.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any comments?
I'd only like to say that I did raise the question about the cost of some of this furniture, and now whether we're getting it through CoStars, which we're obligated to, we're doing the best we can. We did save a little money.
Very good. Thank you. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And finally, consider acceptance of the proposal, artwork, plants, design services from Interiors by Deco, the amount of $9,296.90.
Second.
Seconded. Comments, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Very good. Well, again, thank you. And when are we looking at start and completion? Have estimates on that?
So they're tentatively looking at a start probably in November. Again, the duration of construction is not, it's not a long duration of construction. They have until April, I think, from a contractual standpoint in order to complete it. So they have some time now to procure the material, mobilize a single time and complete it within that time period between November, December, and April, and that'll be convenient for us as well, is because we're looking at essentially vacating the space and moving downstairs. It'll allow us to purge some of the excess paperwork that, again, is no longer required to be statutorily maintained and so forth. So there's some time for us to prepare before they're mobilizing, but November, December is what they're shooting for at this point.
And I would just make one request, if staff can think about it, I know you're extraordinarily busy, but it would be interesting to get pictures of what it looks like now and sort of memorialize it.
Sure.
That way when.
Yeah,
That's a great idea.
that is a great idea.
I was just thinking, I mean, we're in here every couple of weeks.
Yeah.
We see it, but, so the public knows what it paid for.
Sure,
So.
absolutely. That's a great suggestion.
All right, next up is presentation of the 2022 MMO, minimum municipal obligation for the township sponsored pension plans, both uniform, non-uniform, and PMRS. Mr. Kratzer.
Yes, Mr. President, members of the board, as is customary and statutorily required, as the chief administrative officer of the plan, I'm required to present the MMOs for the subsequent year for incorporation into the subsequent year's budget by September 30th of each year. So before you is the MMOs, the minimum municipal obligation for the three pension plans that the township sponsors. As the president indicated, there's a police pension plan, there's a non-uniform pension plan, and then there's a small set of employees that are part of a plan that's administered through PMRS or the Pennsylvania Municipal Retirement System. Just to, for some comparative purposes, the 2022 police MMO is calculated at $1,766,531. That is down from the 2021 police MMO of $2,043,068. So a reduction of $276,537 when compared to the current year's MMO. On the non-uniform side, the non-uniform MMO is $401,480. That is also down from the current year MMO, which was $497,003. That's a reduction of $95,523. Both of those reductions are attributable to a new actuarial evaluation that was completed as of 1/1/2021, and largely attributable to investment performance during that 2-year period, which reduced the amortized contribution requirement or the unfunded actuarial accrued liability. The PMRS plan, again, there's only, I believe, 4 remaining employees in the PMRS plan. This is the plan that the authority had previously maintained when the authority had direct employees that was transferred over to the township as part of that transition of those employees. The 2020 PMRS MMO is $41,268. That is up slightly from the current year MMO, which is $39,112. So an increase of $2,156. The reason for that increase, that's really attributable to a normal cost increase as wages go up. The authority's plan, or the PMRS plan, is virtually funded for all intents and purposes. So again, as wages go up, there's a slight increase in normal cost for the plan, and that's what the reason for the increase there. So with that, these are the 2022 minimum municipal obligations that are required to be presented to you by September 30th, and that would ultimately be incorporated into your 2022 fiscal budget as we're going through that process.
Second.
Moved and seconded to accept the 2022 MMO totals plans. Any comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Speaking of pensions, next up is the PMRS pension plan authorization. Authorize the advertisement of a notice of intent to adopt an ordinance to restate the plan.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, we have a plan that's administered through PMRS. Periodically, there's changes in IRS requirements that necessitate restatement. That's the reason for the restatement of this plan. There's no enhancement or changes in any of the benefit provisions. It's, again, just incorporating new IRS requirements in order to be consistent with them. As the president has indicated, there's an ordinance required to restate the plan, and we're seeking authorization to advertise that notice for consideration of that ordinance at your meeting on October the 14th. So again, no changes in benefit design. None of the plan provisions are changing. It's just simply a restatement incorporating new IRS language and requirements.
And authorize advertisement.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, traffic study request. Do you have anything, Dave?
We do not for this meeting, Mr. President. Again, this is on the agenda in the event that any members of the board may have any requests for the police department or HRG to consider, moving forward.
Mr. President, I have one, but I will reserve it and make it privately since Chief isn't present. They're celebrating the promotions, so I will go ahead and confer with the chief and township staff. Thank you.
Likewise, I expect to be coming forth with one as the resurfacing of Wilhelm Road is done after the sewer project. I think that's expected sometime this month or next.
Right.
I think it's going to turn into a raceway again, so anything we can do in terms of traffic calming there, I will bring up with the chief.
So when do they cut down the asphalt? Is that October 15th?
It's
when the
when the plant's closed October.
Without a waiver from PennDOT, it normally is October 15th.
So are we going to be able to meet that deadline for Wilhelm?
Yeah, we anticipate doing that, yep.
Great. Hold on, we still have items to go here.
Do we?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Kratzer, do you have anything as manager?
I do not, Mr. President.
Solicitor Tara Burns, anything?
Nothing, Mr. President, thank you.
Okay, commissioner comments.
I would just like to thank everybody, HRG and the Buildings and Grounds Committee and the staff that's been involved in the development of Boyd Park. We celebrated that sort of halfway point this week, but for myself and the folks in my ward, I just really appreciate all the cooperation, and I'm really looking forward to getting that, because I really think it's going to be a wonderful place to go. And
Yeah.
if you haven't been there, I would invite any of the commissioners. Tom and I took a walk through it, what's done so far. So thank you all.
It really is, and it was a great ceremony. Boyd Foundation has been a tremendous partner with the township. And Bob, I hadn't realized it that day, but HRG and yourself went out and secured the plaque, which weighs like 350 pounds.
Yes, we did, and we made sure that it was well taken care of, both in transport and to and from the event.
He knows that because he personally lifted it himself and carried it to the event, so.
I wish my shoulder would allow me to do that.
No, but thank you and HRG for all your support.
You're quite welcome. Thank you.
Thanks to the
Recognition
Boyd
of it.
Foundation and Paul Mahoney and Hatfield. They've been great. And our staff has been tremendous as well. Dave, getting great staff. Doug Knaus was super, the highway crew, everybody. All hands on deck, and it worked out well. Anybody else before we get to Sean?
Second?
Please.
Moved and seconded. Comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're out of here.